I got literally halfway through this book. I put it down in, oh my god, are you lying to me? I've only put this in hibernating recently because I don't know what the f is going on in this book. I'm not actually sure if I'm gonna pick it up again. Hello my angels, welcome back to another video. My name is Ro and today we are talking about all of the books that are on my hibernating shelf. So my hibernating shelf is a shelf that I have on Goodreads that I have named Hibernating because of the way I have started and not finished reading these books. So these books aren't DNFs because I do want to finish them and I didn't put them down for bad reasons most of the time. It's just that I could either have not been in the mood for it or I just was in a slump. God knows, but we have 10 books to get through and I need to finish them. But considering I already have a current TBR finishing challenge going on, I'm not going to hold myself too accountable with these, but maybe next year? Maybe next year. So the first of these books, we have Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. Now, according to Goodreads, I put this on hibernating in January 2018, which means it's been hibernating for nearly 3 years, my loves. Let's say 2.5, to be generous to me, but it's been 2.5 years. I'm pretty sure I didn't get very far into this. I don't think I was in the mood for non-fiction, even though it's technically fiction, you know, it's myths. There's a bit of a blurry line there. But I just don't think I was in the mood, and I never kind of picked it up again just because there was not really an opportunity to. I didn't look at it and go like, oh my god, I really want to pick it up. I do know quite a lot about Norse mythology, not as much as Greek mythology, but I know some of the stories already, so I think maybe that put me off a little bit as well. It's like, oh, well, I know them already, so I won't pick it up yet. I'm thinking maybe I'll pick it up for like a readathon prompt or something in future. I need to keep it like on my mind though. So I think these particular ones, I might put them on like one of my TBR carts. Yes, I have two. I might put them on one of my TBR carts like I've done with my self-destruct books. I've put those at the top of one of my TBR carts so that they're in my vision and not like hidden away on my shelves so that I'm not really looking at them. But Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman, like I said, is non-fiction. It's by Neil Gaiman. It's just his retelling of Norse mythology, kind of in the same vein that Stephen Fry has done with the Greek mythology. Apparently it is really good. I do really like this hardback as well. I like the end papers. I'm pretty sure, yeah, there's like Thor's hammer on there. So I really like this edition as well. And it's not even that long. So honestly, I'm pissed off that I haven't read it. It's one of those, and they're all gonna be one of those. But I put all these down for different reasons, and this is kind of the weakest, I think. I could very well have read this in 3 years. Next up's a funny one. Next up is King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. I haven't even taken the fucking sticker off. This has a bookmark in. Oh, it's a fairy loot bookmark. That's nice. I got literally halfway through this book and I didn't DNF it, I hibernated it. This one is a little bit more of a reason for putting it down. I started reading this when I was doing Legally Blonde in my university, the musical, and I was reading this kind of in between dress rehearsals, like when I wasn't being called up onto stage and stuff, and it got a little bit mangled, like the dust jacket's a little bit weathered. Genuinely, this was kind of boring. I felt like not much was happening and I thought it was all going to be about Nikolai, and it wasn't. There was a lot about Zoya, and as much as I like Nina. Like, Nina is in this book. There's lots of POVs from other characters that I didn't expect, that weren't in, like, the marketing or, like, you know, I hadn't heard of. I was just, I think, like, a little bit bored. Like, who is Isaac? I don't really care about him. But if I were to read this again, I would have to start from the beginning because I do not know a jot of what's happened in this book. This is one of the ones that was a little bit more like closer to a DNF, to be honest. Although I have bought the sequel. To be honest, I do love Nikolai. Like, he is a great character, so I would like to see it through to the end, especially if this comes up in the show possibly in the future. I mean, it would be a few years down the line, I'd assume, but if this storyline comes up in the Netflix show later on, I would have wanted to have read it. So I'm not gonna like force myself to read it, but I've heard good things about the sequel as well, because it is only a duology. I have heard good things. This might be one of those, again, kind of like a reread or like a readathon prompt where it's like a second chance DNF kind of thing, like give a book another chance. I know I really shouldn't hang on to books that I'm like not interested in reading. Like I know a lot of you in the comments are going to be like, well, why waste your time reading something you don't want to read? But I'm going to give it a go. The reason these are hibernating is lots of different reasons, and at the time there was a reason I didn't DNF it, essentially. There's a reason I have a DNF shelf and it didn't go on there, so that shows to me that at the time I did want to carry on. So this went onto my hibernating shelf in July 2018, so that is literally 3 years ago. I mean, at least I have the sequel to read now. I think it took her ages to write the sequel, so maybe that's a bonus. I get to read it straight after, I don't know. Next up we have Daisy Jones and the Six. I stopped reading this in May 2019. I don't remember why, to be honest. I remember really enjoying it. I really enjoyed the format of the like interviews in it and the story. I think I did remember finding the story a little bit predictable, but it's mainly character based, so that kind of makes sense, if that makes sense. I'm honestly not quite sure why I put this down. I think again it might have been like a slumpy thing. It has really cool end papers. I am excited to read more of Taylor Jenkins Reid because I still haven't read Evelyn Hugo, and I did buy Malibu Rising because I got on with the writing and the format. It was just, I think I was in a slump at the time. May, to be fair, would have been exam season for me at uni of second year, so that's possibly why, and then I never picked it up because I think I had started to forget what happened. Honestly, I would restart this one as well. I don't remember how far in I got, but I think it was pretty far. I think it was like maybe 3/4 of the way. But I do want to pick it up again. Everyone raves about all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books, so another one bites the dust. Next is Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett, and this was an ebook that I put down in April 2019. And this I put down because it was pretty slow, and I think I was just about to move back somewhere or move somewhere. I remember having it on my Kindle for ages and like not picking it up, but like not picking up any other ebooks either. Because I remember having it in Birmingham with me, which would have been only from September 19 to like March 9, 2020. I remember having it on my Kindle and like wanting to pick it up again, but I just never did. I honestly didn't do much reading when I was in Birmingham last because I had to get used to like working, and I only worked essentially for like 6 months. So it got really weird. I didn't bring that many books with me to Birmingham as well. I mean, also obviously this was an ebook, but I didn't get a lot of reading done in Birmingham last time. I think for the last 2 years, so like 2019 and 2020, I've only read like 50 books, and a lot of that was during like either Christmas time or early in the year, so like not around exams. And then when I was working, like I said, I was just getting on with work, coming home or going to the gym, and I didn't have a lot of time to myself. So when I did come home, I would just like collapse and go on my phone for a bit or watch, like, I think I was watching Grey's Anatomy a lot at the time as well. So that's the reason for Foundry Side, but I have heard a lot of like mixed reviews on this, and some of the worst reviews do agree with what I was thinking about how it's a little bit slow and like the characters I wasn't really connecting with. I honestly, with Foundry Side, I'm not sure if I'm gonna pick it up again. Like, that's the first one on this list now that I'm like, ooh, I'm not actually sure if I'm gonna pick it up again. I've heard there is a sapphic relationship, but I got like 37% of the way in and there was no other woman in sight, so it wasn't like obvious. I mean, it's not a romance book, so it's not gonna be like punching you in the face with it, but I have heard the sapphic relationship is good. I haven't heard like amazing things about it. There's no one going feral over it, you know? So I'm not really sure about it, to be honest. That's the first, like I said, that is the first one I'm not sure that I'm gonna pick up again. So this next book is quite an old YA, and that is Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder. Now this I got from the library because my roommate in Birmingham told me it was really, really good, and I actually really enjoyed it. I got about halfway, but I think I let the library loan run out on my ebook, and then obviously, like I said, during when I was in Birmingham, I was really busy and I just let it run out and I just didn't continue reading it. So I put it down on March 16th, 2020, which is literally just when the pandemic hit in the UK. So March 16th, I was packing my fucking bags to drive down to Jordan's and packing as much as possible because I knew we would go into lockdown. I just predicted it. I was like, there's no point in me staying in Birmingham. They're going to make us work from home. So I'm going to go to Swansea. And then obviously, I don't even know what was going on. It was a bit of a hectic time, we all know. So I never picked it up again. And genuinely, I do really, really want to start this series again. Another one that I would have to read again from the beginning because I don't remember much of it. But it was genuinely really good. I really liked the characters. I liked the dynamic between the main character and the poisoner guy who was like tutoring her. And the plot was pretty good, like pretty solid. So that is one I definitely do want to get back to. But it's not a priority because obviously it was from the library. My priority is like books that I own physically. So may not get to it for a while, but it is definitely one that's on my radar still. Next up is Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. I've been putting this on my TBR last year for like 3 months in a row. I just never wanted to pick it up again. I started it and I just didn't fancy finishing it. I do want to finish it because I do like the characters, but it's another one that was a library loan on ebook, and so I just let it run out. And same reason as the Poison Study, it's not a priority for me. Everything that I own physically is a priority, so I will get to it eventually. Maybe. Next up is one that Jade is going to hate me for, and that is Night's Shadow by Sebastian de Castell. So when I finished Traitor's Blade last year, I was in a massive fantasy slump. The guys who were like reading the series, like Steph and everyone, like they'd already moved on to Night's Shadow. So I was like, oh, I'll pick up Night's Shadow. Read like 3 chapters on audiobook and I was so burnt out. I couldn't pay attention. I didn't know what I was going on because I was not listening properly. So Night's Shadow is obviously still on my radar. I still want to finish it. I still really like the first book and really want to continue the series. I did read Spellslinger recently actually, and I also really liked that, just as a little caveat for you. But Night's Shadow is definitely still on my radar. It's just not a priority. Again, although I do own it because I bought it with a credit on Audible, I don't own it physically. I think I will buy the series physically when I finish the audiobooks just to have them on my shelves because they will probably be a favourite series, let's be honest. And yeah, that's all I really have to say about Night's Shadow because it was really good. I just was I was in a fantasy slump. Well, an epic fantasy slump. Next is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I've only put this in hibernating recently because I don't know what the fuck is going on in this book. I read the prequel because people said reading the prequel would help you understand the world more. It did not. It did not help me in any single way, shape or form. So I don't know what the fuck's going on in this book. I'm listening to it on audiobook and I really, really like the narrator and I really like her Irish accent. I think that's why I'm sticking with the audiobook. But I think I may need to like reread parts. I don't know. I looked up the recap on Recaptains, like just to where I got to. And I still didn't really know what was happening. Like, I don't really understand the level. Like, I don't really understand what's going on. So I think I may need to pick this up again when I'm really in the mood for it. Because it was really intriguing. Like, the intrigue part of the core pile would be very high for me on this. But the logic is, like, it's going down and I'm not quite sure what's going on. I'm not sure why things are happening. I still don't quite understand the hierarchy or like the magic system really. The only 2 characters that I remember and like I'm focused on are the Warden and Paige. Any other side characters I couldn't tell you their names and I don't really like understand what they are bringing to the story or what's going on or like Paige's like in interactions with them or like relationships with them. I'm really confused. I think that might be my fault, but also I have heard some people struggling with this one. So I think I'm just going to put it down for now and pick it up again when I fancy it really, you know. No, who's forcing me to read it? Nobody. Number 9 would be The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow, and I have this on audiobook. I think I'm 75% into this. I'm pretty sure I don't have that much left. I'm either 50% or 70%. I think it might be 50%. I'm lying to you. Pretty sure it's 50%. I put it down in... Oh my god, are you lying to me? It's saying I put it down in December 2019. I think that's a lie. I swear I read it last year. I think Goodreads might be playing up because I don't think I read it in December 2019. Surely not. I'm gonna check. Okay, I started reading it March this year and I put it down in July and I got to 41% according to Goodreads. So I put it down in, that means my other dates are probably wrong, but I'm not gonna go back and change them. I do apologise. This one, I just wasn't like really gripped by it, and I think I just was feeling bad that it was on my currently reading. I am going to finish it at some point, probably before the end of the year, because it's about 50% of the way and it's only like 350 pages or something, so it shouldn't be that much left of it. I'm not like super excited to pick it up, even though I loved the Once and Future Witches. Some of the reviews and stuff about race and about how her half Indian heritage was treated, I think are affecting the way I'm reading this and the enjoyment of it, because I can't get that out of my head and seeing it because other people have seen it. So I think that has definitely impacted my enjoyment of it, because they are like rightful criticisms, of course. I don't know, it's just making it weird for me to read. The writing is good because obviously I love her writing, but I think that aspect of it is kind of taking me out of it because she's subjected to racism, obviously, but it's not super addressed in the book, or like, I don't know. I'm not really the person to speak on it, I guess, but it made me a little bit uncomfortable to read, so I think that's part of the reason why, but I do want to finish it because I do enjoy portal fantasy. It's one of my favourite genres ever. I think it probably is my favourite genre, full stop, hence Every Heart a Doorway. I don't know when I'll pick it up again, to be honest. The very last book on this list is going to be Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. Now this I put down in March. I read about 5% of it on Kindle, and then I put it down and I didn't ever pick it up again, even though the beginning of this is like explosive, action-packed. I think it's just intimidating. I didn't want to read a 830-page book. To be fair, this is a small hardback, so it probably has a lot more pages than maybe, I don't know, some other version, but this is long. This is very long. I do want to finish this before the year ends though, so I'm thinking it might be like a November or a December read, because September obviously has already been filled with lots of stuff, and October I do want to read just spooky books, and then November and December I've got kind of just free. I think Whatever-thon 1 week long might be in November, but obviously that is, hence the name, read whatever you want. So I might just pick that one book for that or something and it be this. I don't know, but I do want to read this before the year ends. I want to read this and finish the Farseer trilogy. So then I would have read 2 big fantasy trilogies this year, and to be honest, I would have been happy with that. I did want to finish the Cosmere this year, but because I was meant to do one every 2 months, and obviously it's been nearly 6 months now since I've read a Brandon Sanderson book. And it's nothing to do with the writing, nothing to do with the author. It's simply that they're so fucking long and I just don't want to read a long book. I have heard this is a lot of people's favourite in the series though, so I am still excited to pick it up and I want to know what's happening and I want to, you know, be more into the Cosmere, but I think this and maybe like Assassin's Quest, because Royal Assassin I'm going to read in September. I'm not sure about October for Assassin's Quest because that is again huge. So November might be like a pick big books month kind of thing, and pick less books but pick big books. We'll see, basically. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me in this video, guys. I really, really hope you enjoyed. Make sure you give this video a like if you did enjoy it, and give me like a little bird emoji for King of Scars if you got this far, and if you haven't really got anything to say but you just want to say that you were here, leave me a little bird emoji in the comments, and make sure you subscribe so that you get all of the future content from me. And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye!